You already know who it is. It's your girl, Yashi. Yes, it's been a very long time. I have been in the background just watching some amazing YouTubers do their thing. I also been watching some YouTubers go at it over some footage, which is crazy. So I would not be covering the story so much, but I did find an outlet through Court TV that just show Aaron, aka True, speak on what he experienced within the cult. So go ahead and enjoy the video, and I'll be continuing to watch in the background. But I definitely want to get a shout out to those YouTubes that is out there really putting in the work, which is my favorite, Letty, Medea. She is definitely doing her thing. And Lisa, say what?
What the facts are is that this victim did.
We are bringing you the polygamist cult leader trial out of Georgia this afternoon.
Prosecutors say Eligio Bishop sexually assaulted a member of the group when she attempted to leave and posted explicit videos of them having sex on social media.
Let's get you back into court now for more testimony. We're now hearing from Aaron Dixon, another former member of the cult.
Following testimony to the court that is true, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir, I do.
State and spell your name for the court. Get the lawyer.
First name Aaron, A-A-R-O-N. Last name Dixon, D-I-X-O-N.
All right, and Aaron, do you know Eligio Bishop?
I do.
When did you first hear of Mr. Bishop?
First time I found out about Mr. Bishop was 2017, October.
And what was going on in your life back in October of 2017?
Around that time, I was preparing to be honorably discharged from the United States Army.
Okay. And what were your plans what were you planning on doing once you left the Army?
One of my initial plans was to enroll in college and also seek some form of employment.
Okay. And what drew you to Mr. Bishop?
Prior to finding Mr. Bishop, as most people know, YouTube recommends videos based upon your search history and watch history. And I have been involved in natural living, spirituality, and things like that. And eventually, one of his videos popped up on my feed.
Okay. And at that point, did you start watching those videos?
I did start watching the videos that was uploaded on YouTube as well as the live videos that he was currently doing.
Where was the group located at that point?
At that time, they were located in, I believe, Belize.
Okay. And what were your impressions of them?
Initially, what drew me to them was the fact that they were from the States like me. And they seemed to be peaceful. They seemed to be wanting to stray away from the typical, I would say, normal society living as far as like being in a city and things like that, and wanting to be more separate from traditional societal ways.
And so, at some point, did you begin to communicate with Mr. Bishop?
I did. Prior to speaking to Mr. Bishop, I was speaking to other members who were there. I believe the first time I actually spoke to Mr. Bishop directly was on Instagram live video.
Okay. And about how long was that after you first started noticing the videos?
I'd say probably about 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Eventually, did you move and join up with Mr. Bishop?
I did. May 2018, I flew into Belize.
And at that point, had your military career ended?
Yes, my military career ended October 2017.
Okay. And when you left for Belize, where were you staying at that point?
Before leaving to Belize, I was at my grandmother's house in Butler, Georgia.
Okay. And when you got to Belize, how did you, did someone come pick you up? How did you get to meet up with the group?
So prior to getting on the plane to go to Belize, I was flying out of Atlanta. I spoke with Mr. Bishop, and he told me that they were going to pick me up from the airport in Belize. And in fact, they did come. They showed up in a very large-sized van with materials on the top, I believe camping equipment and whatnot, and we went from there.
Okay. Who all was in the group at that point?
You actually want me to give names?
Or just how many folks were there?
It was about 12 people.
Okay. And where were they sleeping or living?
When they first picked me up, we left Belize and drove to Cancun, Mexico, and it was a Airbnb.
Okay. So did you spend any time in Belize, or once you met up, did y'all take off?
I spent probably about a few seconds in Belize. As soon as they picked me up from Belize, we immediately drove to Mexico.
Okay. All right. So when you get to Cancun, you said there's about 12 folks. Is that right?
Correct.
Are these both males and females?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was it just one Airbnb in Cancun?
Yes, sir.
And what were the sleeping arrangements like there?
The sleeping arrangements at the Airbnb specifically, right?
Yes.
There was, I would say, Mr. Bishop, and at the time he was with Miss Marquez, Miss Velvet Marquez. They had their own room, they had their own quarters. There was another room. There was 2 rooms, and then there was a living room. So some people were sleeping in the living room, some people were sleeping in the 2 rooms, but he had his own quarters with, at the time, his wife or girlfriend, however you want to refer to it.
Okay. And when you got there, what were your first impressions of the group, the whole experience?
So initially, it was normal. They asked me regular introductory questions that you would ask anybody you first met. How was your flight? What was your zodiac sign? Because we was big into astrology at that time. When's your birthday? People were offering me water. People were offering me snacks, things of that nature.
And when you, were you in the group, did you go by your legal name?
No. Your legal name was actually discarded before you even joined the group. That was kind of like a initiation phase, a form of showing that you have detached from your identity.
And what did you go by?
I threw out the whole thing because I had multiple names.
Sure.
Okay, so my first name was Ace. My second name was Just. Then I was True. So I had about 3 names.
And how was your relationship with the defendant, Mr. Bishop?
That depends on what time in the journey we're referring to.
Well, let's start with, if we're talking about the beginning near Cancun, when you, shortly after you got there, how did the 2 of y'all get along?
I remember an incident when we was at the mall in Mexico, and he took a group photo with the guys, but I wasn't present for the photo. I was actually talking to my now wife at the time. He was very upset. He made a statement that I was what the group refers to as out of tune, meaning that I was not being connected to the other members and I was kind of going astray on my own. He was upset.
Okay. And that happened in Cancun?
Yes.
Okay. And just so we can get it cleared up, the person that you're referring to that later became your wife, what is her name?
Kendra Carter.
Okay. And were there rules in the group?
There were a multitude of rules. Mr. Bishop, for any reason at any time, would implement and or remove rules. But the 3 rules I want to highlight pertain to food, sleep, and relationships.
Okay, what was the rule pertaining to food?
Food was one meal a day. The consumption outside of that 1 meal involved very small things like nuts or fruit. And in addition to that, you couldn't eat until Mr. Bishop was served first. So that was one of the standard things. He had to get his food first, he had to get his plate first, and even if he decided not to eat, then nobody was eating.
And what about, I think you said sleeping arrangements?
Sleeping, well, as far as sleep is concerned, so if Mr. Bishop was talking, you could.
All right, let's bring back in our guest still with us, Bernarda Villalona. And Bernarda, you know, these witnesses, they didn't witness or weren't eyewitnesses to what is at the center of this case, but what they're doing is they're setting the scene for what it was like in this cult or in this group. Because what the facts are is that this victim didn't initially report a rape. So we need to understand why that might be the case.
Exactly. So as you can see what this witness, Mr. Dixon, who's actually coming off very credible, he's setting the scene for us to show how much power this defendant had over them. Like, he can reflect now and say, oh, these things weren't normal. This is not okay. But at the time, for him, it was normal. And here we have him explaining that to everyone else. So this is really important for the prosecution, because you want to explain to the jury why they didn't report the rape, these alleged rapes, when it actually happened.
I think also the importance of bringing out the different rules around food, supplies, relationships, sleep, I mean. So that helps paint the picture of what it was like to really exist in this environment.
The emotional abuse, too. It's like, oh, you're not in the picture, so you're out of tune with the group. That's all part of the emotional abuse and the control.
Yeah, control. That's all.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. For those who is out there searching, because I know I was searching, as a lot of you guys have known, that they were streaming this on YouTube for the first 2 days, and then I don't believe that they're streaming it anymore. So like I said, I was searching for a while, but Court TV do cover it, but I don't think it's the full thing. Now, I don't know if when it shows live, if they are actually showing the whole thing, but I definitely will be tuning in on Monday, especially when I go to work, just to have that in my ear while I, type up these documents. But as always, guys, I freaking love you. Sorry I've been missing for a while, taking care of the family, continuing to go to school, and working full time. But you guys know how it is, because we all doing it. I love you.